look in and his foot is hanging out of the ceiling.
Where was this?
Job up here on close to St. Louis Crossing. His foot's hanging out of the ceiling. And I'm like, come on, dude. It's crustless. You can tell where they are.
Yeah. Says man who grew his feet. I can't.
His
I got work
his
for it.
foot's just hanging there. And I'm like,
Like Christmas vacation.
yeah, and then it created another day's worth of work for me.
Looks like you're going.
Yeah, I think we're on now. All right, sorry for the delay, but we'll roll through some of these items. And got quite the list for you here for get some feedback and just really give you some updates to start with. We started the school year, and I know we haven't had a chance to talk much about that. So this is our first meeting since the school year started. So we will we like to start with our enrollment, as that's the driving factor for our budget and our dollars that we bring in. I put this together just to kind of show you the history of what our enrollment's been doing over the last 10 plus years. If we go back to really our low mark for the district was in the 14-15 school year at 839, and then we started slowly just increasing our enrollment from that point on, and you can see all the green marks or highlighted green areas are where we had the growth. We've had a few down years in there in 21, 22, all the way to the 23-24 season or school year. We had a decline in enrollment, which was a little bit abnormal for us with all those growth years. I speculate when I look at that, you think, well, what happened to maybe have a little bit of a dip, and when we look at COVID and we had shut down for a while and we came back virtual, I think some families chose to just keep their kids at home and do other things and be virtual, and so you naturally we would have a little bit of a dip there in those years following, and I think that may say something about the 24-25 school year, which last year we had 982, and we gained several of those students back. I don't think that's all of it. I know that we've had a lot more transfer in. We talked about that from other districts, where we have very few districts around us where we're sending more kids from our district to them. Most of ours are positive gains when it comes to student transfers. So we are at 982. We're estimating right now our numbers are staying steady at 985 this year. So that would be up slightly from last year. We'll take it. I think most schools I'm hearing back are reporting either even numbers or still decreasing numbers. So we're still holding steady and actually growing a little bit.
What did the state predict at this time?
For us,
They estimated that.
yeah, they've been estimating since we've had a growing trend. They use that trend line and they say we're going to grow. And they actually had us probably at 990 was the estimate that they used for the funding formula. I always go in there and adjust that down because we typically don't hit that projection. I think they're a little inflated when it comes to that. But we are, when they put the formulas together, they do usually show us as a growing district where most are not.
I didn't realize you could adjust it now.
Yeah, I typically do that just so that we aren't hit with a big reduction later. They always will reconcile, and we would rather be reconciled in the positive direction than have to be adjusted. Okay. So that's typically how we do that. Now, they will do a count again in February. I have another document that shows the trend from September to February. We have had some years where we grow during that time. That's atypical. Usually you lose students over the course of a year. We'll be down a little bit. It gets a little muddy when you look at it. Some years, February is an account year. I think the last 3 or 4, it has been a money count. So we do watch our enrollment all year long. We are having some One is, I'm not sure if they've made a formal announcement, and since this is a live broadcast, we're going to just talk about it here, that there is playground grant money that is coming our way, that I want to talk a little bit later about that design. You approved a playground for our toddlers and infants that is going to be completely contained or fenced. The turf has been installed. They poured a concrete pad. We've got a turf slab out there with the fence. The thing that's missing right now, but they've been out there playing, but it gets hot. We need some shade. So we've talked to our fence contractor, and he's already put some posts out there. We're going to have some of the shade sails out there for them here soon. So that's already being utilized. The other part of the playground, we have existing swings, and then we have all that mulch that's become a problem for our drainage out there. Well, with the grant dollars that we're expecting, and again, I apologize, I'm not sure when the public release goes, but we're looking at approximately just shy of $50,000 that will be awarded to updating and improving our playground space out there. I would like to use some of our next level priority bond money to throw in a little bit more to match that, because our master plan is to get rid of the mulch, get rid of the grass, and if we have all soft play surfaces, a mix of concrete, turf, and poured in place surface, then we're at very low maintenance. We're going to have the drainage that will go where we want it to go, and it's going to stay clean and great for anybody that's going under. Now, that is a large area, and it's expensive to do all of that. So while that grant money is great, I know it's not going to take care of all that, so that's why I'm saying we need some matching dollars. The other thing we've done, and JB sent his crew last week, Thursday, I think, had contacted IU with an athletic director there. We brought back 19 rolls of turf from their baseball field that they were replacing. This came out of a conversation at the retreat this summer, and they were replacing the football field, and they said, well, I'm getting ready to do baseball if you have a need for any turf. And we said, well, we'll find a way to use it. So we're talking to our playground vendor, and we said, will you install used turf? And he's like, well, we can make something work. And so he's going to talk to us about layouts and designs. And so we have the turf donated. Obviously, there's a lot of labor in getting that ready to go. So there's going to be costs associated with that. But our thought is that we have some green turf spaces mixed with the concrete, and then we know the board and play that will go around any kind of equipment that we purchase. So we're trying to stretch our dollars as much as possible and make that courtyard just as maintenance-free as possible. Just a photo here. This kind of encompasses the idea, but anywhere there's grass on the exterior of this, we're thinking that's where we maybe have turf. Obviously, this isn't the play structure or the setup, but it just gives you an idea of the concept that there would be maybe some seating areas, some shaded areas under there, maybe even some shade over the play areas. And we'd like to spread it out so that the kids are utilizing the whole courtyard, playing from one area to the other, and it's all enclosed. So we won't have to build any more fencing. We look at the surfaces, which would be probably the most expensive part of any additional project. So not asking for any approvals tonight for anything. I just want you to know that we're looking at just shy of $1,000 in grants and donations to help us along with this project. You've already approved almost 90,000 improvements in there for the toddler area, and then I think Whitney's working on another grant that matches part of the money we're receiving through the Indiana. She had it listed in there. I think it's the creating spaces, creating Indiana spaces. So that's exciting stuff, and I think that we can work with that. On the scholarship side of things, just a little bit of information there. We know we had some scholarship donors that were helping our individuals pay for pre-K. Those were awarded to some of our families just this last month, and so some of those had either partial scholarships for our pre-K or full year scholarships for them. So, any questions about the pre-K, kind of our idea for what we're going to try to do in that courtyard? Any feedback?
portion of, and I know it's all mostly towards the lower grades, I'm gonna say as far as assistants or helpers. How do we fare in that department now compared to, are we keeping up? Or are we cutting back?
When you say with our instructional assistants, things like that, I would say we're keeping up. I think we're appropriately staffed. When we look at our numbers and in our needs, we always shift those every year. We look at that. I will say, when you say we cut back, we have. We looked at our budgets. We saw kind of what was coming, and we forecasted with some of the operational cuts that we're going to see. And so we have right-sized that a little bit. I'll say we had extra supports in the post-COVID years built in, and we've had to let some of those go. And so there has been some training, but I wouldn't say that we are falling behind. I think the answer is we're keeping up, we're appropriately staffed, but we have trimmed a little bit just so that we're keeping our budget.
Would you say that the sentiment is the same amongst the staff?
You know, anytime you lose something that once had, I think it's hard to feel that it's not, that we're working with less than. As we come into, we're going to talk later about our collective bargaining that we're moving into. I think that has been put out there, and we talked about that very openly, that we were intentionally staffing things with extra support in that 21, 20 to 23, 24 school year, where we had those ESSER dollars that we knew were going away. And some of our agencies cautioned us on that. They said, if you hire staff, you're not going to be able to keep that up forever because these dollars will go away, so be careful. So we made sure that teachers were aware, that our staff was aware that those were temporary positions. And I will say we probably kept them a year longer than we even intended, just more because we had the funding. We were able to supplant what the ESSER dollars that we were losing. So I do think, I can't speak for the staff, and I just know that when you're used to having something and you have less of it, it's hard not to feel that. So I do understand where someone come from if they felt that we were doing, falling behind.
And I think you speak to Brian's point is that having the right staff in the right places.
Yeah.
Somebody in preschool that's good at preschool needs to be in preschool. Somebody that's not good in preschool shouldn't be in preschool. They should be fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade.
And I will tell you, our administrative team we spend a lot of time discussing exactly that point. And I'll give Mr. Wheeler credit at the elementary side. He had a meeting with every one of his assistants and asked them, what do you think is your best fit? What would you, if you had your choice, where would you want to be? And then as he's making decisions, because really we shifted all lateral move-ins, which we'll have a better, more clear report on that later. But we also, I think, have 5 exchange students in here. So that's always a number that we, and we always enjoy having those students. So all in all, enrollment is holding steady and up just a tick, so we like that. And we're off to a great, quiet start. Things are running, and I think some of that has to do with having very little staff turnover. I mean, we talked about this at day one with the teachers. We introduced a few new ones and some new positions, people that moved, but really we had the 2 teaching positions that we needed to hire this year. We had hired before we left school last year, and then we had 1 counselor position to hire this summer. So those were and we obviously had some non-certified areas to fill, and we filled those. But as far as certified positions, we had 3 that we filled this year, and only 1 over the summer, and that's a big change from years past. So little turnover leaves more time for our admin to do their thing and not have to bring new staff on board and all that onboarding process. So there's a lot of good things happening there as well. All right, so that was just a conceptual. This isn't, again, doesn't look anything like what we're going to be shooting for, but the goal would be to have, different surfaces so that we don't have a lot of maintenance in that courtyard area. So let's talk about our dollars and our bonds, what we spent on. So I've kept a running list here, and I'm not going to go through everything. I know it's too small for you to see anyway. If you ever want to look through all the expenditures, this is a pretty detailed list, but I'll zoom in on this total here. So the total that we've paid and laid out there is out of just shy of $5 million. We have spent just a little bit over $2.2 million that we've paid out. Now, we have things in process that you've already approved at another $1.5 million. So the bond revenue is listed here. I can probably zoom that in just a touch more. You'll see the revenue, the expenditures, that in progress that I just showed you, and then our total expenditures so far are 3.7, just a touch over that, with a remaining balance of 1.2. Now, that in process, remember, that's everything you approved. So when we talk about tennis courts later, that's one that's already in there. So when I say we got another 1.5 to spend, 1.2 of that is our tennis courts. And again, these are, some of them are solid numbers that we've already spent out. Some of them are quoted numbers. If anything runs over, there's always going to have to be a buffer there. So I feel good about everything that we've approved so far. We're still sitting at $1.2 million that we can cover overages. We can look at other projects and make priorities, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about as we move forward. So I'm going to go to this, and I just want to show you real quick. I'm going to zoom down, and that was our.
Has the lighting behind the school been addressed yet?
So we've added lighting on the school building in the back, and then the poles on the north side over by HSP. Are you talking on open or on the Hauser side?
Behind the Hauser, field house.
Yeah, we lit that, we put a very large light on the top of the field house that shine. You talking about where the cooks go in the morning and the
Well,
chillers?
people at 6, 7 o'clock in the evening back there, that park back there, that go into the field house. It was always so dark.
Yeah, I just, we got that, about 3 weeks ago. We had a lift because we had issues with the baseball diamond lights as well from the lightning strike
Yeah,
a year ago. And we had a vent on a roof that we needed a lift to get to. So we finally rented the lift, and when we had it there, we went up over top of those chillers with that big lift, and we installed a light. And between that and the poles that were on the other end, we really lit that up. My biggest concern was people, one, because the cooks come in so early. But on the other hand, one of my techs pointed out, yeah, there's $500,000 worth of chillers sitting there unprotected. At least we have them lit up now, which I really wasn't thinking about. And I thought that was a good point, because somebody could walk in there and do $500,000. Really, it's almost $1 million.
On the other
Ray says coming from his house, he sees the airport. He calls us the airport now because he says it's lit up like the airport when he comes through.
Which, well, we need that. And, we are working with some sensor issues and getting things put on, the
Solars.
get on solars rather than on timers, because the timers haven't been syncing. So you may go around and see some that are, you think, well, it should be lit up and it's dark. Usually send me a message, I'll send it on to him, or
I think we're
it doesn't work. We're getting closer.
as of last week, I think we're good all the way around, except for I'm still waiting on photo cell for the canopy lights at central office. That's the last. I want everything sun up. I want the sun telling us when they need to be on, when they're not, for liability purposes. When it gets dark, they need to be on. Even if it's like right now, it's not nighttime, but it's getting dark out. I like those lights to come on, so there's never a question it was lit up. So it's been a long process, been a 3-year process. But
You also get the bird problem taken care of under the canopies.
I'll get to that, we're working on it, it's not finished. We have, actually, you approved, what we decided to do, we got a couple quotes, and we were questioning material being used, and the low quote was quite a bit lower, we wanted to see what we're getting. So we've approved a smaller area to start to see what that is back by the ag building, and we're gonna see what the product looks like, make sure that's what we want before we do everything. And then we'll bring you a recommendation if it looks good, which I think we'll get it done here probably in the
I think
next.
we got about 2 more weeks on, the material's been ordered. We had about a 4-week lead time for the metal. We went with the metal, the vetted metal.
It's expanded metal.
Yes, and what I did is I took the material, so we get apples for apples, and sent it to everybody, so it's, this is the material I want. And we still had one come back quite a bit lower, so we're gonna let them do it, we're just gonna do them back. I explained to them, I said, I want this for us and for you. So you come in, you install it, you've got a small project, and you say, oh, I ate it on this because I quoted it too low. You use a small project. And then if we're happy, we're gonna move out front and do the bigger side of it. And go ahead, because we have the quote. But it gives him an opportunity, gives us an opportunity to see the project, make sure we like it.
Steel or aluminum?
It's an aluminum. Yeah. It's the material I gave you guys the sheets to back when we were discussing the main area. It's a good product. It is expensive.
And we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. So this list, you've seen it before, and it's our priority list we sent out to you, and we had the admin create the priorities, and then we had you look at it. The main thing that came from the board was they wanted us to focus on safety-related items first. So the safety and transportation upgrades, you can see that were all highlighted there. I didn't highlight the lighting, because we specifically said tennis courts. We have not added anything back there, and I don't think that the intent was to put them on the tennis courts. I think it's that parking lot back there, and when we do this renovation, they are actual, the tennis court upgrades, they're actually using that area for their staging, and all the equipment will go out. The power is being moved out to the exterior fence, and our idea is to use that power to put some lights back in that back parking lot there. It'll serve as kind of in that dark corner there, lighting for our parking. So that's not been addressed at this point, but it will easily be addressed once we're done with the project. So obviously we're sitting in our new bus facility. It's just been fantastic to have, not only operate the buses, but here having moving our board meetings. We've got a lot of ideas where we're going to expand, what we can do next with this building. I think there's a lot of possibilities. We bought 3 new buses, plus we added an AE bus in there. So our bus fleet is looking good. The sidewalks were completed around the tennis, the track and down to tennis. Obviously, there will be more done when tennis is replaced. Our exterior doors that needed upgraded, we did that. And then the perf, we approved that. That is kind of stalled in design, and I think it's been just because we went with a new company and had all the logos and things that they needed right away. But they've approved the first phase of that, so you'll see that going on, I hope, pretty soon. But that's in process as well. So I'm just going to scroll back to the top and kind of go down, and I just want you to see how much we've done with these funds we've had. We've, all the fencing upgrades are almost complete. They're putting gates on today out around the track. we'll address the ones that we have not touched yet. Jamie's working on those, and we'll talk about those here. If it's dark gray highlighted, that means we've kind of decided that's not necessary at this point. That we're not going to leave it on the list to do. High school lockers are not in horrible shape. It's a major expense, and we don't know how much we're really utilizing them. So we've had some talks about how many lockers are assigned, how many kids are using their locker, and what other alternatives may we have. We talked about wraps and things that could jazz up the look of the hallway without breaking the bank. So those are some things there. Major seating is here, or actually it's going to be delivered this week, and for install. So we're hoping to have new bleachers out there. Again, anything that's in yellow has been approved or it's already finished. Court refinishing, that's the main gymnasium. That's still on Mr. Ship's list. We'll talk about that here in a minute. With our decals or our perf that you approved, the wrap bus will come. That will be last after we get to school. Safety upgrades done there. We just talked about the bird problem around the entrances. We have a plan for it. We haven't approved everything there, but we want to see what this sample looks like before we move forward. Recoding the hallways in the elementary. This is something that we need to get quotes on. We have not done that. The star there is because we do want to pull that out, and I'm not sure on the price yet. That $15,000 may be low. We'll talk about, again, these other ones here more in depth. Flooring, you approved all that. All of the flooring is done in the office areas and band room except Hauser. They've done the first half, they did the hallway, and they're going to do this weekend, I think, the offices. So that's almost there. We highlighted door scanners in this building. We don't think that's necessary for this building to be upgraded. The cost is very prohibitive of adding scanners to this building at this time. We feel like the site plan that we talked about possibly doing, and we're kind of doing that as we go with these projects. We feel like we've got a pretty good handle on what our facility needs, and I don't know that we need somebody else to come in and pay and tell us our next steps. We approved the north concession stand. I think Pat mentioned he was very appreciative of that.
That's wonderful.
He worked there today.
Take over your pull it back up. No, I think so. I can't pull it back. It's worth the trade-off of the space.
We haven't painted the light poles yet in the parking lot, but that's the plan is to get those upgraded, and get the green on, and have nice new light poles. Sidewalk, Mr. Wheeler, every day says how great it is. That they can drop off a little sooner as kids can walk down the safe sidewalk. We've already heard good things about that. Removing the tile in the floor of the elementary, that was an idea that we threw out there. It wasn't very high on the priority list. We removed it. It's just tile. VCT holds up. We just have to take care of it every year. And there's a reason we went with that. And I just think going with any other product, there's too many unknowns to make that worth the money that we would spend on that. I don't read all these. I mean, if you need me to, if you can't see them, let me know. But we got a secure door for the KG playground. Again, it's a great area to keep kids contained behind that fence. I just think that's been a great upgrade. The signage, we get a lot of compliments. Chad mentioned the way it lights up on both ends of the campus now. It is nice. And then we're excited about the tennis courts. We did buy a new mower, so we're appreciative of that because we've been mowing in both places, and it has helped out. So any questions about the priority list as the things that we've done?
What about the front facade on Hauser? That's green.
That's part of the light painting, and
That's part of that.
yes,
Thank you.
we're
We're working over there. We want to get the soffit material in
Yes.
before we.
Before you do that.
start painting, yeah.
I think green's holding up pretty good.
Well, we got a little bit still in the back of the Hope
Hope
Elementary.
Elementary has little accents of it.
Yeah. Yes, that's on the list.
I love
So
middle.
line 7, the HVAC upgrades.
Yeah, that's next to talk about.
Okay.
That's a biggie.
I figured.
And again, we doing all those analysis now. Now, the other part of this is funding. Where does that money come from? And so I want to talk a little bit about that, and I was going to say it for the end, but we can jump right in. We talked to bond council, and we said, okay, we've already taken these bonds out to do some of these initial upgrades. What if we wanted to start a process, because when we're talking HVAC, and they're sitting there telling us, well, if you want to do something, we can't start work for a year, year and a half, because the equipment takes so long to order, to get it in process and all that. So this would be something we wouldn't bond. We wouldn't wait to take bonds out and hold money and then say, okay, now let's start a project that's going to take 2 years before it can even start. So what we would do is we would get a project approved, we would get bonding approved, but wouldn't sell the bonds for another year to a year and a half. So the way the bond council described it to me, and this was a quick conversation that they were willing to come and have with everyone, but basically we could look at approving something maybe in 26 that would sell in 27, and the project would go in 28. So really there's a long runway if we want it to be, it doesn't have to be. And there are mechanisms where we can raise the kind of money that we're talking about, and maybe even other projects, because we are, think about what happens in 28, 28, 29 is when our construction project from all those years ago falls off. So we will have bonding capacity, and our AV did go down a little this year, which we expected. So we will see tax rates tick up just a little bit based off of that. But anything we have done isn't impacting that. That's a product of the AV and what the market around us do. So again, we would keep all those things in mind depending on what we want to do. So the next steps, I think, for our HVAC is deciding, do we get something started now where they're doing the initial control upgrades on some of our newer equipment? Maybe we use a little bit of this money to get started, and then we look at what a bigger project could look like and how much that's going to cost. And they will project out the numbers for us, and they'll talk us through that. So just wanted to plant that seed, let you know that's probably coming in the next month or two, that we need to make some decisions for the next 3 to 5 years. And maybe sooner. I mean, we could do it sooner, but it just, again, getting the equipment, getting everything scheduled, it's probably going to be at least a year and a half to 2 years out before that can happen.
I wouldn't think the controls would be that big of a deal, or a priority, I should say. But again, or when you said some of the AEs and R22 or whatever, so that stuff's expensive.
When they start talking
You
about
go see what the boards we're using right now that are outdated cost. But
The what?
the boards for the controls, you have your brains that are in your units.
Well, in the units themselves, I understand that. I consider that mechanical. I thought the
No,
overall
that's
controls.
that's controls. And right now, our cheaper boards, we only have 3 in the entire facility that I can think of. Cheaper, I think we're spending about $2,000 a board. The one that I didn't replace since I've been here, and I know it's out, but it's in the hallway, and it's really not affecting the comfort of anybody. That's about $4,000.
Those are like condenser units, though, right? Where you're
No, that's the board that you plug everything into that tells that unit what to do, because they're so old. I mean, they're dinosaurs.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so most of the elementary, I mean, a lot of the newer, you can
sides, we have to take that drywall completely out, pull the units out, replace the units, and put the drywall. And so, or move the units to a different location outside the building.
So it's not something you want to wait until it breaks down in the middle of the school year, you know?
Drywall, man, drywall's cheap.
But just inconvenient when you look at it.
No, the two over the elementary bathroom, I'm talking about in the gym. The
Oh,
two
you're
in the
talking about the
elementary
two
bathroom.
with the hatch. I got you.
With the hat, the ones you go up on, I'm not sure, I'm gonna be honest, we haven't discussed how we're getting those out there. Take the roof, I'm willing to take the roof
I
off.
wonder.
Yeah.
If you hadn't been up there, I would be
You all
surprised.
these or do you want me to go down the list? Because these are what's left that we did not, and they were on the other list that you put there. We added a couple things because Ship did talk about a weight room that we hadn't discussed before. We put that on there. Wash bay here, that's one thing in this building we did not do, and we need some ventilation, and we're getting some numbers on, but we haven't upgraded wash bay yet, so we put a number there. So if you look at that total, 1.1 and some change, and we have 1.2 left. So the way we set out on this funding, based off the projections we have here, getting these estimates, we really could justify and say, we have money to do all of this. Now, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, because we do want to wait, see where our tennis courts land, and want to see where some of these other things come back. These may be a little low, but like that toddler playground, you've already approved some money out there. And I just threw a number at it and said, well, if we get some of this grant money, and to get what we need out there, would it be, I just know how expensive those services are, 70,000 probably isn't a far off cry for what we need to get that done. Asphalt, that is something we need to do with some of this money. He's talked to companies even today and trying to get an idea of how much that's going to cost us. Is it 150? Is it 300? I don't know, but I know that we have a lot of parking.
Feeling 150 will low. Did you reach out to Robertson's?
I met with them today.
Okay.
Yeah. Aaron, I met Eric.
Yeah.
We had this discussion a couple of years ago, and they gave me a quote a couple of years ago. We revisited it and looked at the couple of years of aging, and so we had that
I
discussion.
mean, I know both of them very well, and they want to help, they want to get good prices.
Yeah.
I know the town of Hope kind of skipped them over on some of that stuff, but they'll give you.
I'll be honest,
they'll give you the best
I
prices.
reached out to All-Star, who did the Town of Hope, and it was before I really went down there and looked at it, and I'm not gonna lie, they haven't gotten back to me, and I'm not hurt after going down and looking at kind of what they did down there. And then there's one out of Indianapolis that I also met with on site, and I'll be honest, they knew what they were talking about. I don't know how good work they do, but they had the right answers, so.
One thing I see on there, and I know it's not a high priority, I know it's not something that's used a lot, but something that does need to be at least considered, is those elementary locker rooms. Because, I mean, they've not had a thing that were put in '88. I mean, nothing.
We got an idea for that. And so, I'll tell you that when you talk about priorities, we did those had rankings listed on some of those. The higher up this list, the higher the priority they were viewed by the admin. And so that top 7 there, minus, I guess, top 6, minus the lockers, those are the priorities out of probably this list. The bird, number 11, that should be up there, because we're doing that regardless. But we have to do some asphalt. We need to do that bird entrance, soffit area. These other things are, would they even, do we have to? Would they be nice? Now, I will say the weight room, if I had to prioritize, I'm going to show you some photos here in a minute. When we talk about athletics, Ship has 3 priorities that he said, man, if we could do something with, he's looking at weight room, the court resurfacing, and the locker rooms, the varsity locker rooms. Those would be 3 things that he said, if we could have some money towards that, he would be, thrilled. Out of those, we've been looking, locker rooms, I mean, I know in a perfect world, we want to gut everything, and you want new lockers and all those things. The lockers aren't that bad in a varsity locker. Really, the problem in there is the layout. When you want to be the coach, and you want all the kids to sit there and listen and get your game plan together, you've got a little bay over here that's cut off with a middle, got somebody coming in to look at that.
Just did that.
Not load bearing, would not block all down. It would be a smooth concrete, that's like a pad that those lockers are sitting on that becomes a extension of the bench. And you open that all up. Fresh paint, some logos, fix some of the lockers, closing mechanisms, and maybe some bathroom partitions. And I think you've got a pretty good looking locker room. And that would take very little. We've got our painters that we hired for in here are still working part-time for us doing stuff. So I do think while they're doing that, they can come right into those locker rooms and get that done. So I don't think we need to throw a big number at the locker rooms. I think it's something we can just do. I'll bring something back to you. That's one I told Chip. I said, if you can do without lockers and use what we have, I think we can make it out.
And elementary, I mean, my son and all the kids that he plays with, they have backpacks. They've got their balls in there, they've got their shoes in there, they've got everything in their backpack. They're not gonna fit in the locker anyways, you know, I mean, as long as somebody can't get in there and take their stuff, which,
Do the bathrooms
we're
work?
not gonna
That's
use
the biggest thing.
Yes, the bathrooms do work in the elementary locker rooms.
Well, and I'm looking at landscaping around the signs. Is that something we could have the ag department help us with? I mean, what's the problem with having that become a school project, in my mind, to save a little bit of cash?
And a lot of times it does. And again, it's been a placeholder in here that we said, oh, we like somebody to design it and get the right plans in and do some things. Again, it's not high on the priority list. It's something we can shave money back. I don't think we need $60,000 for that. But I put that in here. Now let's move over to, this is one we'll talk about real quick. So we had this idea of something over the entry to our sports complex outside. We've got the new press box building, we've got the fencing around the track, we're going to have brand new tennis courts. We do want to get people to funnel through that main gate, which we already have there. I don't love this design. We've asked them to reconfigure it. We're not going to do, we don't think we want to do the brick. We want to make it more simple, but we do want to have our logo up over where people walk through and draw attention to it. So we're asking them to revamp it and get us a better price. This is Green Signs with their version of this. I think this one was roughly, was this one 16,000, I think, this version of it.
It's been too long. I think it was.
We'll wait for them to get us new numbers and a new design and idea. But this is something I think we want to add. We're spending all that money out there to make our facilities nice. Let's label it, and we can pull in and they'll know, hey, that's where I have to go in. We still have people parking all over the place and then walking. You know, we'll just have, I don't think it'll be any question. I don't think it needs to be lights. I think we already have the lights on the building. I think we just get our logo up there, something that says this is the entry to our outdoor complex, which we do need to land on a name for that. But I think, we could just put the H home of the Jets and we'd be good. I don't think we need Flat Rock up there. But, okay, wait. So we have some issues that we need to take care of while we're doing this. This is glycol, and we've had a major leak and had to replace some drywall. So again, getting to the crux of those issues. And if we zoom in, you can look at all these air handlers. It's just nasty. So I think, paint would go a long way to just sprucing this up. With those of you that were here around when that was put in, just, it was 3-4 times the size of our old weight room. So, I mean,
It was the Taj Mahal versus the old weight room.
yeah, it's like room at the end of the gym there.
and we got a good deal on the equipment. And I think the flooring's still solid in there. They talked about, what that would look like to replace. Some of the equipment, it's just, it's taken a beating. Some of it was old holdovers we had in the old weight room, and then some of it was new and updated. I think the idea, or the quotes that he's received, are going to these power rack systems where kind of everything you want to do is right there. You don't have to have all these separate machines. So making more space in there by getting rid of some of the equipment that they have, and then adding one of these or two of these. And so these are the things that he's been getting in some of even if we dip these down to the lower, and let's say a ball gets loose, it's gonna be contained within the whole complex, because there's gonna be a fence back here that comes all the way around it. So that's, the idea here is viewability. If somebody's walking on the sidewalk or standing on the side, you can interact, or you can see the players. And most of those balls, as you know, when they miss them or if they miss hit, they're hitting the back of the fence and they're running all the way over to this court. And so that will catch, these fences will catch that. Gates on the south side in the center, and then 2 gates on each court on the north side, because this is going to be player access on this side, and this is going to be spectator. Now,
Do we want parents to have full access to the courts from that end?
I don't know that you're going to have. What do you mean? Have access?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about that because initially they had that off, and they said, but when they talked to coaches wanted to be able to have that access, and he had another rationale for it, but he talked to tennis people and they said, yes, you need to have
Okay.
both ways.
And coaches should be probably the only ones going in between the courts, not parents.
Well, we've all seen the videos, that's all I'm saying.
No, I like the drop down because honestly, if you hit it to the side and you are over 4 foot, the crowd will just go run cross country.
So I've got some more colors we'll go through here in a minute, but I just wanted you to see this layout. Now, the other piece of this that we did 5-foot sidewalks here. Originally with Strand, we had talked about making this 15. Right now, it's only designed at 10. Now, we do have, and I talked to him earlier, and I didn't get the numbers to him today, but so the city still wants to possibly do a sidewalk project with us and have some money earmarked for it. So if they want to throw some money in, the idea was that there would be a sidewalk that would extend beyond here and go down to Schaefer Drive. Because the kids that walk from Goshen, at the backside of Goshen, would come down and they walk down Hauser Drive. Well, instead they want them on the sidewalk. So the question I had was, can we extend this to 15 feet using some of the money that the partnership we would do with the town, and just take this and extend it on out, and then we could actually run our perimeter fence right there in the middle of the sidewalk, and so 10 feet of it, you have your spectator area with backs up to a fence, and then on the other side of the fence, before you get to the trees, you could run that sidewalk all the way down.
Is 10 feet enough room for bleachers and still have access to be able to sit without your knees in the fence?
Yeah, when we measure those bleachers, 6 foot deep.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I think 6 was the measurement to go on the.
Wherever you put the
low
bleachers,
rise.
you're not gonna have a lot of room to sit chairs in front of it, but the chairs
You
honestly.
still gotta have enough room to get in and out without.
Yeah.
I don't know if we think about what the town's gonna do because I don't think that's ever gonna happen.
Well,
I had a, I'm not a fan of Jason Eckert, and I don't think it's gonna happen. When the time comes, we cross that bridge.
Yeah,
Let's not
they got a
plan
lot of
for it.
money to play with.
To me, if you want it to be 15 feet, then talk to them about making it 15 feet to the wall. But, I mean, if there's enough
I'm
room
gonna
to
get-
10 for the courts,
Same place as ours,
or for the bleachers, I think we're good. It's just, we gotta make sure.
well, this is how the project will start, and then if we make any adjustments before they put back, we'll go from there. So we don't have a lot of time left. I want you to look at the colors that they sent over here. The one in your packet, we had this thought is, some
try to at least make it to the last half of this game for tonight, so, thank you.
Okay.
Caleb? Go ahead, bud.
I mean, 'cause it looks good. I gotta know, it looks good.
The biggest thing about concrete, though,
Be careful.
concrete is shiny, bright. I 7 o'clock. First order of business be approval of the minutes from the July 30th meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes of July 30th, 2025.
Second.
Motion and second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion's approved. Public comment? No public comment?
We have a public comment.
I'm just here with him.
Did you want to say something?
About the school job.
Yeah, here for the school job, and I just wanted to get aye.
Oh, okay.
We've got a recommendation we're gonna add to the packet here in a minute.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. He decided to show himself.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
I already wanted to show
I like that.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
All right, approval of payroll and vendor claims.
We have payroll dates of July 18th, August 1st, August 15th, and claims 6/27 through 7/17.
I move we accept the payroll and vendor claims as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's passed. Next up's personnel.
All right, well, we've got a long list of volunteers. This is your first action here tonight. I'm recommending the slate of volunteers that are in your packet. If you have any questions, let me know. But Mr. President, I recommend the board approve these volunteers as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Quite the list.
As usual, Misty's busy with background checks.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Athletic Director Kyle Ships asking the board to accept athletic resignations from Jerry Shane and Karen Kelly. Jerry Shane is varsity baseball assistant, and Karen Kelly is junior high boys tennis. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve these coaching resignations as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the coaching recommendations, or resignations.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? I like Jerry being there. I hate to see him not be there. Okay.
I talked to him the other day, and I was glad that he was out there last year. I think he was just, he was ready to, he's ready to move on and without him, so.
They want to have the transition.
I will pass that along to him.
Yep. All those in favor of the resignations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Principal Chris Fortune's recommending that we hire Christine Gross for the open science lead position. Ms. Gross is a former teacher, a science teacher, and will be a great fit here at Hauser. Most of you know her. Mr. President, I recommend that we approve Christine Gross for the open lead position for science.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Next up, we have custodian Colton Wallace submitted his letter of resignation effective April 8th. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve Colton's resignation as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion for this one? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That motion passes.
I'll just go on the record and say we appreciate Colton's work ethic and how much he came in, just fit in with anything we asked him to do, he would step up and do it. So we appreciate Colton's time. Hope Elementary teacher Elizabeth Collenbeck is asking for FMLA leave to begin on or around February 6th of 2026 and run through May 4th of 26. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve Elizabeth Collenbeck's FMLA leave as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes.
custodian resignation from Peyton Bennett, and she submitted her letter effective August 8th as well, and we do appreciate her time as well. So, Mr. President, I recommend to approve Peyton's resignation as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the resignation of Peyton Bennett.
Second. Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion passes.
And one more, Lily Combs submitted her letter of resignation effective August 13th from our custodial staff as well.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Do you have any staff left?
So those were all my high school kids
Okay.
that left, and Lily was actually part-time, and she was doing her full-time job in helping us, and she's got.
Are there any positions that need filled?
Yep.
You got one?
Coming up, yeah.
Good.
I still have more as well, though, yes.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That motion's approved.
All right, thank you. Food Service Director Kim Sessions is asking for approval to hire Ileana Santos as a part-time employee working less than 29.5 hours per week. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve Ileana Santos for a part-time employee in the cafeteria.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Eliana Santos, a part-time employee working 29.5 hours per week.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That motion's approved.
Thank you. Special Education and Early Learning Director Jessica Pose recommended that we hire Rachel Burke as a full-time daycare assistant for the 25-26 school year. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve Rachel Burke as a full-time daycare assistant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'll just add that Rachel has been subbing in there for the first couple weeks here, and that's that position I talked about. It puts us at 2 and 2 in the separate rooms. So 4 total daycare employees, it leaves us better covered for those kiddos. So fully recommend Rachel.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That motion's approved.
Transportation Director J.B. Royer is recommending that we hire Linda Hamilton as a substitute activity bus driver. Mr. President, I recommend the board hire Linda Hamilton.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That motion's approved.
Athletic Director Kyle Ships recommending the following coaches for the 25-26 school year. He has Travis Pittman for junior high cross country, volunteer, Jaden Blair, junior high boys tennis coach, Taylor Smith for junior high varsity cheerleading coach, and Leroy Leonard for junior high basketball volunteer. Mr. President, I recommend the board approve these coaches and volunteers as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Not. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That motion's approved.
Okay, and then while we're on personnel, I'm going to let JB, I think he has a recommendation for Caleb, who is, Caleb, you're a senior this year, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he wants to fill one of those open custodial positions with recommendations.
I'd like to make a recommendation to hire Caleb Dungan with background check, with pending background check, as a part-time custodian, 29.5 hours a week. Looking forward to having work with us.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the hiring of Caleb as a part-time custodian.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
You deserve a pat on the back for showing up to the meeting. I was always told they're gonna vote on you, you need to be there, so you did good.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? That motion passes. Good to have
zero changes other than IHSA had some definitions, and like final forms is not something we use anymore, so there were some deletions in there. And then he took out some of the wordiness of the IHSA things that were more for coaches, and he put those in the coach handbook. So really there wasn't any substantive changes to policies or procedures that were different from before. Brian, we had a conversation around the suspension protocols, and remind me of your specific question, because I thought I understood where he landed, but we talked a little bit about if a student were to have an infraction during one season and then had to serve, let's say it was a 25-game suspension, or let's say 50 games, or 50%, and 50% was not left of that particular, they would serve it in the next. And the question came, could they participate in something they'd never participated in before? And the way our handbook reads is they could. It's about, it's not calendar year, it's about the number of contests. And then the next level, like I think it's second or third infraction, is 365. And so it's the number of days. So if you had your, and luckily we haven't had this yet, but if you had an infraction that you were suspended for an entire 365, which I think is your third strike, basically, you would have to serve that out. So if it was the middle of basketball season, you wouldn't be eligible till the middle of the next basketball season. Would be how that would work. That was some of what I took from our earlier conversation, but I think you had more specific questions.
So I guess my main question was, why is it not just the same sport to prohibit somebody from saying, it's like I said, it's a bit of a loophole, right? So if I want to play basketball and I get suspended for basketball, but I want to serve my suspension in baseball or whatever it is. Golf,
Yeah.
cross country, sure. And I've never done that before, and it seems like that. So I was just curious, why don't we make it the same sport?
Because I think what the conversations I know we've had in the past are, if someone has an infraction at the end of the season, maybe it's right before sectionals, and they maybe had to sit that out, that there should be, based off of our handbook, a longer disciplinary action. The issue becomes that season ends, and they're going to go straight into another while that infraction's fresh. So if it's, let's say it's a drug-related infraction and they've been kicked out of school and they're serving this, then the technicality would be if they did play in the, if they waited and they served that suspension, then they're going to wait a whole nother year and serve again. I think that the comments were, would that person be eligible right away while they're suspended from school? And then are they serving? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, if it hasn't caused a problem, it just seems like a bit of a loophole, and if I were doing it, I would probably sign up for it.
As a general student athlete representing Hauser, no matter what sport it is, if it's the last tennis match and you get suspended, then there's got to be some kind of repercussions, I would assume. But
Being an old middle school administrator, I'll say, for example, one of the issues I can see is you get in trouble at the end of the football season, you're suspended, let's say, it's supposed to be 5 games, and there's only 1 game left, so you miss that game, you say, okay, well, now you're gonna serve the next 4 next year, but you had marijuana at school, why in the world are you on the wrestling mat? This kid's a druggie, he's on the wrestling mat immediately, he didn't even serve his full suspension. People don't remember a year later, but they remember right then.
Yeah, I think-
Maybe he doesn't wrestle, but let's say he does, and he walks out on that mat, 3 weeks after he got busted for marijuana, people are gonna start screaming and yelling, that kid should be out there because he just got in trouble.
Probably right.
There's a double-edged sword there.
And I think the way it's worded in the handbook, when Kyle and I talked about this, was that, as a student athlete, you represent Hauser 365 days a year. And so you're held to that standard even in the summertime and anytime you do that. So the infractions then become, or the punishments become something that is tangible in that moment and is close in proximity to your infraction. So if you have a summer issue and your sport you're playing is in the fall, you're going to serve your time there in the fall. I will say over the course of my years here, we've had very few that have added a sport that they didn't typically play. typically, the way that it's rolled out, and maybe this isn't something to talk about cleaning up, is that if it came out and you weren't the one, breaking the news, self-reporting and saying, hey, we're gonna, then you were given the full extent. That may need to be a language cleanup. I don't have the answer for that here, but we can always change that later. Because that, I can see where that can become an issue.
Yeah, and then the last one was social media. Was it the same as what's in our student handbook?
It does mirror that. I don't think it's any, I think it's just saying it again, like we have already, acceptable use policies that have it in there as well. So I think it's just an acknowledgement that it's not an additional penalty.
So they're aligned.
They're aligned.
They're not in conflict.
Yeah.
That was it.
Do we have a motion for that?
I move we accept the athletic handbook as presented.
Second.
Motion is second, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion is approved.
I think that concludes the superintendent's report.
Do you have anything for other business?
I do have 2 items, just to want to look ahead to the next meeting. It will be the day after Labor Day, correct? Is our first meeting in September. We're good with having that meeting at that point if we're gonna have enough board members here. So I just wanted you to look, make sure everybody's gonna be out of town for the holiday weekend and that we'll have a quorum for that meeting.
I'll be here.
I'm not here either. Okay, we will keep it on the day after Labor Day then. The other item we have, we've got some tentative bargaining dates that have been sent my way. The association has a new UNICERT director that will meet for the first time. As Nancy, who had served them last bargaining sessions, took another position within the organization. So we need to start bargaining sometime in September. I'm having an informal meeting tomorrow with Andrea and Julie. So we need 2 representatives from the board to serve. That's how we've typically done this. We've had 2 representatives serve on the bargaining team. So any thoughts on that? I know Brian's done it quite a bit. Matt, being the board president, sometimes we default to him. It can be the president and the vice. You guys tell me.
Usually do it. President, vice, and I usually how we do that.
If for some reason, I know Matt couldn't be here tonight, he had some things going on, so if some reason he can't, I'll be reaching out to the rest of you just to say, I need a representative on there. But we'll put Chad down and then we'll talk to Matt and then go from there. Everybody good with that?
And we're real good at volunteering when I hear.
Volunteer by proxy.
It goes with the job, right? The president needs to be on there for at least 1 round. I will just tell you, some conversations that have happened in our association, and I know throughout the state, the TAG dollars, the teacher appreciation grant that usually comes in December, is changed greatly. And it's coming with its own set of conversations around that about how it's going to roll out. The DOE has until, I believe, the middle of September to get the guidance out, because before we were able to pay, as long as the teacher was effective or highly effective, they could qualify as long as they'd been in the district last year working. And so the majority of our teachers received those dollars. It was spread out amongst the group. The dollars are going to go down a little bit. The state allocated less for this. For us, it's usually around $35,000. They're talking about $30 per student is what this will equate to. But the money gets reallocated with the schools that will take it. So if we do not take the money now, then other schools will get the money that was supposed to be for us and for our teachers. So there's a lot of ins and outs about it, but that is a topic that we are talking a lot about. I want you to be aware of.
Put the name in the hat and drop.
I don't think that'll fly as the criteria, but we'll see what the state comes up
You
with.
know, meet certain criteria, get your name dropped in there, away you go, there you go.
I will say that I've heard some creative things, and some are doing an interview process to be, those that want to be eligible. So again, more information to come. We have not even, I've not talked to the association about it. I think that will come tomorrow, but and see kind of where they stand, and then we'll formulate our opinions. So that I think is all the other business I have. We didn't have any major project approvals. You have the list, and I will send that to you of what's left. And if there's anything you want to put a star by and say, I think this needs to be the one, or if you want to tell me, hey, this is no good, but I can just tell you that we do need to keep moving. JB's done a great job of keeping these projects rolling. I don't know how he keeps it straight. I think every day I come in and throw something else at him, and then we bounce ideas and come up with new things to do. But I think things are looking great. The facility, we've gotten a lot of compliments. I think we're going in a good direction.
How many teachers do we have right now?
63.
Approximately 60.
Yeah.
So 20% of that 63 would be about 13.
The lowest dollar amount is $3,500. The tiers are $3,500, $5,000, and $7,500.
So you're talking about a significant amount of money.
If it was funded, we're not getting that much money. We're going to get $30 per student, so 30 times about
27 to 30,000.
30,000 at the high end. And if we paid 13 people $3,000 or $3,500, that's not enough.
3 times 30, yeah.
Pick one from each grade level and tell them to split it with their peers.
Well, we're going to get the guidance from the DOE, and I'll bring that back to you. But that will be something that will be talked about in bargaining. So Chad, you and Matt will be looking at that. Now, it's not, I will say, I said that, but that's not bargaining. But it will be the discussion on where they stand on these. Because we still have to have, nothing changed with the policy, who's eligible, those policies we have to update each year. Nothing is changing there, it's just changing how we divvy out the money.
Anything else for